This is the Western Maryland Connellsville extension in N scale. What we're looking at right now is the west end of the Connellsville yard. The cardboard line here going off, and that'll disappear over into this tunnel portal. It'll make up part of the yard lead and is the interchange with the Norfolk and Western and P&LE. The Norfolk and Western line was the former Pittsburgh and West Virginia, part of the alphabet route. So if we come down around here, we interchange with the lines into the Western Maryland right here, and this is the start of the Connellsville yard. The line in the front is the B&O's F, M, and P branch that headed south to Uniontown, down to Morgantown, Fairmont, and beyond. The Western Maryland had trackage rights over the line down to several mines, coal mines about 70 miles south. So we're going to go ahead and look at the yard here a little bit more in depth here. Up in the upper corner here, this line here will extend out. That's going to be the interchange with the Pennsylvania Railroad that unfortunately became Penn Central and eventually became Conrail, and Conrail abandoned the line in the early 80s. Okay, moving through the yard, we see the B&O connection right here, and this is going to be a runaround track so I can set up trains to head down the branch and come back out of the branch, locomotive first, so I don't need to worry about a long backup maneuver. I want to have the siding long enough to run around 8 55-ton hoppers. The Western Maryland was big on 55-ton hoppers, so that helps me out quite a lot. Okay, we're going to pull back a little bit further, and if you can see the yard, it's really a simple affair. We got the main here on the left, one track here that's long enough as a staging siding track, 4.5 feet for the longest car, longest train on the railroad. Typically 12 cars, 2 locomotives, and a cabin car, roughly 4.5 feet. And then we've got a couple of tracks for the yard itself, and if we pull back we see some tracks that'll be a 2-stall engine house, and we'll have some engine servicing, light engine servicing. And then I'm working on adding an addition into the line, which will be a line coming into here, into the inside of the circle, the curve that's going to have a warehouse and another warehouse with a cutback, 4 boxcars probably, something to break up the scene to keep the eye from seeing the train completely as it leaves the yard heading east, which is what we're going to do now. We're going to head east out of the yard. The main line is going to come around, come up grade, and right in here is where we're going to have the start of the 5-track staging yard that is going to be hidden by a small scenic view block. Toward the front of that, we're going to see here, I've got already kind of staged where I kind of want it. The main line that's heading toward Cumberland, and what we're going to do is have about a 3-foot view block, 3-inch view block here to keep the 5 tracks of staging in the back that you can see up here on the wall. We've got our main line here in solid, and then the 5 tracks of staging in the back. And if we continue around, we'll see we have a train already staged on the main. Try to get a sense of how things are going to open up. Here we see a turnout that's going to lead into the 5 tracks of staging. If we come around, we're going to come into an area, we're going to have a siding up here, a couple of industries, just some light duty switching. We're going to call it a combination of Confluence and Ohio Pile. Just something to add some dimension for operations. At this point the railroad's going to go into a deep cut. That'll be obvious in a minute, and it's going to come around the curve and come out of the cut right around here and open up, and we're going to have an industry here, a truck dump for loading up some hoppers. I'd like to get 4 hoppers on a siding there so we can have some mainline interest with a nice little scene there. We're going to continue around, maneuver. We come around, we have a big curve come back around. In this area here we'll have a bridge that goes over a river and the B&O line heading down toward Fairmont. And if we continue around, this is going to be a very large bridge at some point, starting probably in this area. that crosses over the B&O branch and the river that'll be right around in here. It's going to be made up of a 40-foot and 80-foot deck girder and a 120-foot two-track through truss bridge to echo the engineering of the line for double track, but in most places it was only single track. And echoing that, we have the tunnel portal that'll have a single track going into it. And this is where effectively the railroad ends, through a sojourn through the wilderness, enters into the tunnel portal, and it'll come back around and then wind up back here for a continuous run back at the main in Connellsville. Now, if we follow the B&O branch out, we're going to come down around. We drop some elevation. We're going to cross over the river. That's going to lead around back under here. And the branch comes underneath the bridges and back down in here. We're going to have a mine over here, the river along the wall, and industry of some sort right back up against in here. And of course the branch heading off into the distance. That's it for the Western Maryland Connellsville extension here. Some interesting possibilities here. The cut, as I said, is obvious because we'll have a big wall here of mountain, and the railroad makes a deep cut into it, just to kind of keep the scenic views blocked. Okay, that's it for the Western Maryland Connellsville extension from Connellsville to Cumberland.